Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce-on-Nule. My vehicle is making a lot of noise. You're used to it. No, you're not used to it. Not at this volume. It's very loud right now. I got a little road trip here, so, might as well, try to, I don't know. Well, you know what? I've been having, I don't know what to call it. I've been having, which way does it want me to go? I gotta look at my GPS. Give me a second. Okay, so I gotta go the slow way. Okay. So, I don't know why it's taking me this way. Okay. If you say so. If you say so, I don't know. This is the slowest way ever, probably. I don't know. So it says 1 hour. Okay, so it says 1 hour. The GPS says 1 hour. I gotta drive all the way from Queens to New Jersey, and it says that I will only take an hour going the way that I'm going right now. So hopefully everything goes well. There's no traffic issues, nobody has an accident, and it benefits me. That's a lot of noise, A lot of noise. Anyhow, we're gonna do it anyway. So the other day I was, my son asked me, what happened if you mated a cat and a dog? What kind of, animal would it produce? And that was a great question. And just off the top of my head, I said, well, that's not really possible. What you would have to do is, what happened, you would have to do some genetic splicing. They would not directly mate because they're not really the same species. And, the parents would be incompatible, whether it's a mommy dog or a mommy cat or it's a daddy dog. Well, you know what I mean. Whether you mate a dog with a cat, with the mom is the dog, or as the mom is the cat, and the father's the dog, or the mom, whatever. Crisscross, If you do that, it's not going to work because they're not genetically the same. Their genetics, it's not going to work. So I said, what you would have to do is use a bacteria to alter the DNA in order to get some genetic properties of one of the animals into the other animal's DNA. And you would still have to have the mommy and daddy of the same species and use the bacteria to splice in the DNA into that embryo to get the other species DNA inside of the other one. So for example, it would probably be better to, and I didn't say this part, but it would probably be better to get a male dog and a female dog because their bodies are larger, and then use a bacteria with the DNA from the cat that you want and add it to the dog embryo, implant that egg inside of the dog mom, and then you'll get the genetically spliced that you're trying to develop. Well, I didn't say that. I just said that you needed the bacteria to do it. So then I said, you know what? There's a technology called CRISPR, which is currently available that you could use to do that. So I pulled up the CRISPR. TED Talks had a little cartoon version of the CRISPR. I'm gonna put my hazards on because my car makes too much noise. I don't want to drive too fast with it. So I'm doing 50 miles an hour anyway. That's the legal speed limit in New York. So we got a lot of noise going on, right? So let me talk a little louder. So when it comes to the CRISPR technology now, the TED Talks video basically said what I said. And but certain you know, you have to make the anyhow. So then after I had that discussion with my son and we watched the CRISPR video, I went on to ChatGPT to find out what bacteria are used to splice the DNA in a CRISPR type of operation. In a CRISPR type of operation, what bacteria is used? Okay, I'm gonna try to find that right now. Whoa, excuse me, I'm gross. Sorry. So I'm gonna try to find that information right now. See if I can locate it. It says Streptococcus progenitus, Staphylococcus aureus, Escherichia coli, E. coli. So these are regular, naturally occurring bacteria. Streptococcus, Staph, and E. coli. These are bacteria that we are, Streptococcus causes strep throat. Staphylococcus causes staph infections in the hospital. E. coli is in food and feces, and it can make you real sick. These are things that we encounter all the time. These are bacteria we encounter all the time, right? So then I asked ChatGPT, what dietary... Okay. I then asked ChatGPT, what foods could protect against or kill E. coli, Streptococcus, and Staphylococcus. Garlic, turmeric, cinnamon, manuka, honey, oregano oil, green tea, cloves, ginger, and then there's some other stuff, but in the screenshot I took, the other stuff didn't show up. So let's review that again. Garlic, turmeric, cinnamon, raw honey, oregano oil, green tea, clove, and ginger. So those are good at killing those bacteria. Now, there's also a phenomenon where your cells can be more prone to being affected by these three bacteria. What kind of condition, I asked, if I'm recalling correctly, I think I asked what kind of condition would cause your cells to be more susceptible to modification by these bacteria, to modification by CRISPR, whatever, right? And what will protect your DNA, right? So the foods that would protect your DNA now are cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, right? Berries, leafy greens, pomegranate, dark chocolate, walnuts and flax seeds, mushrooms, especially reishi, chaga, and lion's mane. Okay, so what protects your DNA? Cruciferous vegetables, berries, blueberry, raspberry, right? Leafy greens, spinach, arugula, pomegranate, dark chocolate, walnuts and flaxseed, mushrooms. So the first list of spices, basically spices that I listed, kill those 3 bacteria that I use to modify DNA. The second list, with all the berries and the fruits and the reishi and the dark chocolate, pomegranate, that protects your DNA from modification. And okay, let's stick a pin in there. I said that I was going to talk about what makes your DNA weak, right? Let's find out what makes your DNA weak. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. What makes your DNA weak is oxidative stress, inflammation, radiation, and nutrient deficiencies. Right? It doesn't say it here on the list that I'm looking at. But one of the additional things, and now I'm just speaking off the cuff, it's not on my list here. But one of the other things that I encountered in my little conversation with ChatGPT was sugar. Added sugars, processed sugars. Added sugar / processed sugar. You gotta kind of say added sugar and processed sugar, because when you just say flatly sugar, it's misinterpreted as being inclusive of sugars that naturally occur in fruits and vegetables. The ones naturally occurring in fruits and vegetables aren't that threatening. The ones that are threatening are the refined sugars and the added sugars, right? I'll just say refined sweeteners and added sweeteners, because some of these things are not even what we would call sugar. You got a thing, you got maltodextrin. I mean, if it got dex in it, it's a sugar, or lose in it, it's a sugar. I think if it's, something like that. Maltodextrin, I don't know. If it got lose in it, it's definitely a sugar. But you got things like ACE K, stuff like that. But look, they stated that one of the things that kills these bacteria is Manuka honey. Honey is sweet. Honey is a sweetener, but it's not a processed, man-made type of sweetener. It's made by animals. It's naturally occurring. The bee larvae. The bee larvae drink royal honey, and then I guess the rest of the bees drink regular honey, right? But if the honey was making their body susceptible to DNA, it would be no good for them. It would give them energy, yes, but it would probably make the beehive a dangerous place to be, because they have to keep the beehive warm. They have to keep the beehive somewhat humid, because the bees, from my limited understanding, they lose a lot of humidity to their body. I would assume, I would think so. A lot of bugs. Some bugs don't drink. Some bugs don't drink. They gotta get their liquids from their food, or they gotta get it from the environment. From my limited understanding, I might be wrong about that. But if you got a hot, humid environment with no sunlight, that like a beehive, that would promote mold, right? The bees keep themselves clean for the most part, but the sugar that's in there is not promoting the growth of bacteria. That's, it's not promoting the growth of mold. That's me just saying that, So that's me coming to that conclusion. But anyhow, so Staphylococcus, E. coli, Streptococcus, those are things that can just jump on you, just not even by doing anything wrong. These are things that are usually on surfaces and all kind of stuff like that. And staph infections kill people in the hospital. Streptococcus, if I'm saying it right, is associated with flesh-eating disease, right? And E. coli is associated with food poisoning. And when we're talking about the gut microbiome, bacteria in your gut, E. coli is one that could really mess you up, right? It could cause you to lose your life. So, in theory, those spices that were mentioned could help to fight E. coli. So it's probably good to cook with these things like garlic, turmeric, cloves, some ginger, to keep the bad gut bacteria away. And they say the gut is the second brain now, so it's probably going to help your mind also. I mean, I'm going to go off on a tangent now. I've already said what I need to say. To protect your DNA, you got to get your pomegranate, your berries, your mushrooms, your reishi mushrooms, so on and so forth, right? Okay, so I had the so you got to get your stuff. And then when it comes to killing these bad bacteria, you need your garlic, your turmeric, your ginger, so on and so on and so forth. I had so I don't want to stray too much. The more I talk, the more I get away from the content, the more I get away from the subject matter. So I don't want to say too much more about that. But to protect yourself, you probably want to integrate those spices into your diet. And to additionally protect your DNA, you want to integrate those dark chocolates, the pomegranate, the blueberries, stuff like that, because they're antioxidants. And remember, one of the things that makes you susceptible to your DNA mutating or whatever is oxidative stress, radiation, and inflammation. So sugar, again, is one of the things that causes inflammation. Radiation, well, that's a lot of different things. Radiation could be the Wi-Fi, radiation could be X-ray, radiation could be the sun. Radiation could be electric heaters. Radiation could be the cell phone towers. Radiation could be the microwave that you're using. Radiation, hey, I don't know. I don't know. It could be a lot of different things. It's basically heat in the form of light, or heat in the form of magnetic fields. I'm not going to get too weird into that, but you can take it off. You can take it wherever you want to go with that. So ultimately, how you can help yourself, how I can help myself, is avoid the added sugars, avoid radiation, and avoid oxidative stress. One of the things, and I'm just speaking off the cuff, I'm not looking right now. One of the things that I believe cause oxidative stress is like fried foods. Because they have old oil that they cook with, some of these places, or these oils are old and rancid, and these things are, can cause oxidative stress from my limited understanding. Let me change lanes because I'm driving slow and these guys are driving fast, and I don't want to get in their way. So that's all. And I thank you for listening. I don't want to get too far out about what I'm talking about. And watch out for the motorcycle. Watch out for the guys on the motorcycles out here. Look out for them, and give them some space. Because especially out in these New York roads, the roads are so terrible. There's potholes. Actually, the heat outside has been causing the roads to buckle. So look out for the bike, guys. And thank you for listening.